evening, everybody. Welcome to the show. My name is Lauri Albert. I'm a mess today. Welcome to Spiritually Speaking with Lauri Albert. I am your host, medium and intuitive Lauri Albert. Spiritually Speaking is an interactive, intuitive conversation that embraces all things spiritual. Each week, we discuss different spiritual and life topics. I have guests, and I take calls on the spirit line to have the viewers be part of the conversation for questions or if you'd like a reading. So, welcome to the show. Thanks for being with me tonight. I was off last week. I got that sickness everybody else is getting, right? I got bronchitis, and it was pretty interesting there for a couple of days. Oh my gosh! But all is good tonight. I'm having a little bit of trouble catching my breath, so pardon me if I'm cough a little bit. But so I was debating last week, should I do the show? Because I actually had a voice, believe it or not, but sort of. But I was thinking to myself, well, if I'm giving a reading and I need to cough, I just don't like that. That didn't sound too good, right? But anyway, I'm here this week. Yay. Thanks for joining me. So much to talk about tonight. And I'll be taking your calls, but I want to get right into a meditation. Tonight's theme, or we're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff. I've got good news stories to talk about. I've got a really important astrological message. So I've got that going on. And then I'm going to talk to you guys about clairvoyance. What is clairvoyance? What the heck is clairvoyance? I mean, I know so many people, I get asked very frequently, what exactly is clairvoyance? So we're going to get into all of that. But first, I want everybody to get relaxed because we're going to do a meditation. And I'm excited to do this meditation for you today, or lead this meditation for you. Again, you can always replay this video on YouTube, because I'm on YouTube as well. You can always replay this video and on any of these and play back the meditation. If one of these meditations I read to you, or, I should say that we do together, I guess I should say, if one of these kind of tickles your fancy. So you can always do that yourself. So anyway, so there you go. All right, so I want everybody to get comfortable. Please get comfortable. And take a couple of deep breaths and just get into relaxation mode, right? We've had a busy couple of days. I don't know about you, but trying to get well again has been interesting. So let's just take a couple of deep breaths and relax ourselves into a meditation. Close your eyes and imagine all of the muscles in your body relaxing, starting at the top of your head to your neck and shoulders. That's always an area that we like to focus on when we're relaxing our body. Our arms and our torso, and our abdomen area, and our legs. Just try to imagine all of the stress of the day just melting away and into the ground. So I'd like for you to imagine in your mind's eye that you are in a beautiful field filled with wildflowers. Just imagine all of the wildflowers of all colors and sizes, as far as your eye can see. Imagine walking through that field and just experiencing the beauty and the joy of life. Looking around at each one of the flowers that just grew up naturally. sky is a perfect, perfect blue. Not a cloud in the sky. With a wonderfully warm temperature, perfect temperature. With the sun glistening down off of the flowers. You are perfectly present to all of the temperature and the sun and the beautiful flowers. Nothing could be wrong in the world. And imagine feeling that joy, that perfect joy, even ecstasy. Imagine feeling just perfectly content and joyful, with no problems, no stresses or worries. Only the perfection of the world where you are right at this moment. Take a look at the blues and the yellows and the pink. Notice each petal on each flower. Some are small, some are big. And feeling that peacefulness in your heart and that joy. As we sit there, we know that we can always access this amazing field. We can always come back, and we can always access the exact feeling that we're feeling right now. Now, when you're comfortable, you can open your eyes. Sit for a few minutes if you'd like to. Breathe in to perfection. Open your eyes when you're ready. And why would anyone ever want to leave the field? Is really what I have to say there. That's one of my sort of, I guess you could say, happy places. I've always loved just all of the amazing colors that are in my version of the wildflower field. So it's just beautiful. So I hope you enjoyed that. And I hope that brought you all some peace and some joy today, because joy is what it's about, right? I know that there's so many people kind of stuck in the cold weather and all of that, and just can't get out. But I have to say, when you're in that place, and I know I talked about this a lot last week, but there's always a place to go to in your mind, right? And some of that is a little bit clairvoyant. So we'll get into that in a few minutes. So so I hope you enjoyed that meditation. That was fun. I'm like so relaxed now. I don't know if you guys can tell. I'm like totally relaxed. So much is always happening, right? With the planets and the astrology and all of that stuff. Every single week, it always seems like there's something dramatic going on, right? Well, I went into rulingplanets.com, which is where I love Christopher Renstrom, and he, posts the generic forecast for the week. And I have to tell you, this one has me a little bit scared, right? But you know what? This is the sole reason why I am into astrology, even the little bit that I am. I'm not totally into it. I know certain things, I know other things, but I don't know that much, right? This is why, because it's just a guideline for your life, right? It's just a guideline. That's all it is. But today, we can kind of consider this sort of a warning, right? So I'm going to read this. Pretty darn amazing, right? And I hope you all can appreciate this. All right. You'll want to keep, this is for this week, actually, starting yesterday till the 28th. Okay, so just be aware of that. Okay. You'll want to keep your more colorful opinions to yourself, while Mercury, the planet of messages, and the messengers who get beaten for delivering them, is traveling through a volatile patch of sky from January 24 through 27. That would be tomorrow. Okay? That's pretty ominous, right? Not only will people take your words out of context, but they'll be more than happy to use them against you and pin the blame on your lapel. Plus, it doesn't help that Mars enters Sagittarius on January 26th. This will likely pour gasoline on the fires of any controversies you might be tempted to weigh in on. The best way to navigate this treacherous terrain is to avoid heated conversations. Remain non-committal. And limit yourself, this is my favorite part, limit yourself to posting YouTube videos of baby otters doing the darndest things on your Facebook page. It may seem self-censoring and inauthentic, but at least you won't get your head bitten off. You heard it here, folks. Oh my God. Oh my God. I was like, okay, not a problem. I'll take care of that. Seriously, that's kind of frightening. But you know what? Again, this is why we use astrology as a guidepost, right? It's always, you know what, throughout my whole life, and those of you that have known me for a long time probably know this, but I'm like the queen of getting myself into trouble. My mouth just opens, words come out, and I'll just get myself into trouble all the time. And I've gotten better over the years. I'm 52 now, so I've gotten better over the years. But seriously, it's a bad thing. So keeping my mouth shut. Nothing's happened yet, but I'm just gonna be careful. so I couldn't wait to, pardon me, to tell you guys that, because we got to be careful. Got to be careful where we can. So anyway, so I wanted to open up the phone lines. The spirit line is 818-835-5885 if you'd like to call in, if you'd like to be part of the conversation, or if you have a similar situation to mine that you want to tell me about, where you kind of get your mouth gets you into trouble occasionally, you can tell me about that. So yeah, or if you'd like a reading, please feel free to call. Yeah, it's great, isn't it? So, okay. So now I have to tell you guys this too. And if somebody understands this, please call. Okay. So today I'm feeling awesome, like mentally. Okay. I'm going to feel pretty good physically too, but we're talking about mentally. I'm feeling like good. I had, the show planned out. I do a spirit circle afterwards, and I'm feeling good. I've got everything planned out. Like, it feels good, right? All of a sudden, at about 2 o'clock, it's 5 right now, 5 p.m. right now, or 5:15. All of a sudden, I started to feel like depressed and down. And, and it was like I just felt lousy. I felt kind of irritable. And it's funny because I was walking next to somebody and I said, yeah, I'm feeling kind of like irritated right now. And she goes, well, that's not you. You're never irritated. And I said, I know. That's why I'm so irritated and sort of sad or whatever. And for the longest time, I was thinking, boy, that's just not me. I wonder what the problem is. And I thought, oh, I wonder if it has to do with like the planets, because I just read this and I was like, oh my God, whatever. But now I know what it is. So I feel certain that there is a soul with me, that there is a spirit here, and this is what happens. And a lot of times, this will happen before I get a reading. Hours and hours prior to, I will start to feel some emotions that a person would feel, or I would sometimes take on the personality a little bit, or even if it's a man. Oh yeah, it's just, my life is crazy. Be in my head for 5 minutes. So at any rate, yeah, so if somebody can understand the whole idea of just, I'm feeling like dismayed and sort of not really sad, but just sort of disillusioned. Yeah, so I feel like that, so if somebody can understand that for a loved one that has passed relatively recently, please feel free to call me. And I do understand, because people, I get calls every week, or I get emails every week afterwards saying, I'm not comfortable quite calling or whatever. So if you can understand this person, or these emotions for somebody that's recently passed. I feel like it's a woman. So please feel free to call me, or text me or whatever, and we can set up a reading. Okay. And we can deal with it that way. So, but I'd love for you to call if you'd like to. So, so yeah, interesting times. So yeah, that happens to me. I wouldn't say all the time, but a lot of the time. Like I'll decide I'm going to do a reading, or I'll be getting things ready to do a reading, that somebody's coming over, or somebody on the phone, I'm doing a reading, and yeah, and it happens that way. So anyway, okay, so next on the schedule here, gonna talk about spiritually in the news, right? I've got some good news stories today, and first off, before I tell you what I have sort of planned here, or plan to tell you about, each week is a whole different week. A couple weeks ago, there were all of these stories that were so good news and so great, and they were just, and there were so many, I couldn't choose which ones to talk about, and it was really cool, and I was like really excited, and it was really fun, and then this week, not so much. And it's so funny because, like, I don't know, is that sort of planet related? Is that like just what's going on in the world? It's very interesting to see the difference of how things are going. So yeah, it's really, really fascinating. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you guys because I thought that was really pretty interesting. So I do have some really cool uplifting stories though. Okay, first, you may have heard this one. I just love this story. Okay, and if you haven't heard, it's really cool. I happen to love this Pope Benedict. Is that right? Oh crap, I can't remember it. Pope Benedict. I believe it's Benedict. I just love this Pope. He's just like about love. He's about spreading love. He's about giving love to people that don't have it. He's about giving love to people that are angry. He's about just spreading love. I think that is just so amazing. And not that the other popes didn't do that, but this one, there's like a connection there. I don't know what it is. It feels really good. He just emanates joy and beauty. And I just love that. So anyway, he was traveling, I believe, to South America, and there were two flight attendants on the plane, and they just wanted him to bless their marriage because of the earthquake. It was the earthquake. Because of the earthquake that was just down there a couple weeks ago, they had to postpone their wedding. So they just wanted him to bless it. Well, lo and behold, he says, why don't we just marry you right now? And of course they were like, oh, okay. What am I going to say? I just think that is just so cool. I mean, seriously, who does that? That is just so awesome. So that's my number one feel good, happy story. Because, doing things for people when they don't expect it. I just think that's so fantastic. I really do. And we're out of the season of giving right now. We're done with the Christmas season, right? So it's important to remember all the things that all the reasons why we like to give during the holidays, right? The holidays are over, so let's continue to give, continue to do nice things. I think that would be an important thing to do. So anyway, my second feel-good story, you guys are going to laugh because I wasn't like pulling straws. Okay, so I was pulling straws a little bit, right? But my second thing that I was excited about was the fact that Minnie Mouse got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Yay! I have a thing about Disney. I don't know what it is, but there's just something about Disneyland that is so magical. I don't know what Walt Disney did as far as energy wise and all of that kind of stuff. I don't know what he was into or anything, but there's always a good feeling there. Always. And yeah, okay, the prices are really high. I get that completely. But it's so magical there. It's just so magical. So at any rate, I love Disney. So I just thought it was really cool that Minnie Mouse finally got a star on the Walk of Fame. So yay. Congratulations, Minnie. Okay. So next story is about Isabel Castano, and she lives in Miami Beach. Okay, and she is considered one, if not the oldest person in the country. She just celebrated her 112th birthday. Okay, that means that she was born in 1906. That's pretty darn amazing. That's, I believe, before my grandparents were born. My grandparents were born after that. Isn't that amazing? But she says she credits her long life with her faith in God, and that is what her secret is. She said that she is generally a very happy person, and she is very grateful for her life. So you know what? Every single year, it seems like, whenever they interview the people that are getting older or whatever, it seems to me that the theme there is gratitude. And I think that's a really important thing to recognize. And again, that's part of why I did the meditation that I did, because we need to stop, you guys. We need to stop and appreciate what is around us, right? We need to appreciate what is around us, okay? Look at the flowers. Stop and smell the roses. Okay, so I have some friends that might get that little bit of a joke, but stop and smell the roses. Stop. You got to count your many blessings every day. It used to be an old song. I'll just go ahead and say it. It was a Mac Davis song, old song. Used to sing it in one of the groups I was in, and it's a long story. But at any rate, it's true. If you count your blessings, if you stand in that field and look at the beauty of those flowers, it's amazing, right? It's amazing. So, okay. So, okay, so then I wanted to tell you, and this isn't really good news, but it is actually good news. I want to talk to you guys and tell you guys about, if you're familiar with who Ram Dass is. Ram Dass is like a spiritual teacher. He spent a lot of time, he used to be a teacher, or a professor, I should say, at Harvard. And in the 1960s, he went over to India, and he spent a lot of time with the Maharishi, and he spent a lot of time with just like in meditation over there, and he spent a lot of time he had several different gurus, I believe. And so he wrote a book in the 70s, I believe, and it was called Be Here Now, right? Which actually is rather interesting, and that's, it's funny that I should say that right now, themes. The theme is always the same. So at any rate, he is now getting up there, and he lives in Maui. And I've probably talked about him before, but he lives in Maui, and he actually several years ago suffered a stroke, and it took him a while right? To get some oomph back, to get some of his faculties back. And so he's talking. He's still teaching, right? I listened to an online sort of event, and they were promoting this online course that they're doing. It's a 4-week course, and it's Ram Dass and all of his, or several of his, teachers that teach with him. And they're going to be talking about awakening through your difficult emotions, timeless wisdom to transform suffering and cultivate freedom from attachment. That's a mouthful. I do get that. But I wanted to tell you about this because Ram Dass, I'm sure he's never going to see this 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 online show that I'm doing. However, you never know. But how much longer is he going to be around? So, and he's one of our great spiritual teachers. He is amazing. He was talking last week, and it was very interesting because I was noticing on YouTube how you can see how many people are doing that, or are logging in to watch him. He talks very slowly. He has to, because he had a stroke, and it's very difficult for him to speak. However, what's interesting is that every single word out of his mouth is specific, right? And when you can take the time to stop what you're doing, stop and smell the roses, and stop and listen to him, it's every word out of his mouth is a jewel, is fantastic, right? So it was interesting because when he got on, I was like, oh my God. And I knew what to expect because I knew that, I knew about him and the stroke. And and what happened was that you could tell people were logging in, but then they were logging back out because they couldn't handle waiting for him to talk. But I'm sorry, they are the ones that missed out because it was phenomenal. I mean, he is an extraordinary man. He has suffered a stroke. He's got all kinds of physical ailments. He is in constant pain, right? Yet he talks about how he loves everything. He loves his stroke. He loves his stroke. He loves his pain. He loves all of that. And I'm sorry if I've talked about this before, but that's amazing. And that is who I want to be. And that is what I want to generate in the world, is love for everybody. Love for all of your gurus. Love for the people that irritate you. Love for the people that you get into confrontations with. Love for just everybody. Love for the person who looks like that they're in a really bad mood, right? He just loves everybody, and he loves everything, and he loves his life, and he knows he's here for a reason. So anyway, if you're interested in him or any of those topics of conversation, let me tell you about it. It's theshiftnetwork.com, and it's freedom from anger. Okay, so you can go to theshiftnetwork.com and you can look through their courses that they have, and you can log in and be part of that course. It's a 4-week course, and you get a ton of stuff with it, right? You get PDFs, you get videos, you get him, you get a little bit of him, not constantly him, but you get a little bit of Ram Dass, but you get all of Ram Dass's teachings, right? And they have brought in a lot of his former stuff that he used to teach about, and so it's really fascinating, really fascinating. And not everybody is a Ram Dass fan. I get that. That's fine. He's for some people and not for others. That's fine. However, the shiftnetwork.com has that course there, and it's very cheap. It's only like $150 for 4 weeks, and you get a lot of stuff. So if you're stuck at home with the snow and you just want to do an online course, this is the one, because it's amazing, right? So anyway, yeah. So I'm excited about that. All right. The next thing I wanted to talk about before I get into what clairvoyance is, feel free to call if you'd like to call in for a reading, 818-835-5885. And I'd love to talk to you if you want a reading, or if you have a question, or if you just want to tell me something, please do. So, okay, so the last thing about spiritually in the news that I'll talk about is that, just kind of a little aside. I don't talk about politics on this show for a reason, very good reason, right? I try not to talk about negative things on this show. However, in my real life, I guess you could say, I'm kind of a news junkie, okay? And I know a lot of people that watch are probably news junkies as well. I need to know, like that earthquake, today there was an earthquake up in near Alaska, and I was like frustrated because I didn't know about it first. I have this thing, I don't know what it is, right? Whatever. So I like to know. I like to be the first to know. But I really don't like watching the news right now. I just can't stand watching the news. It's not fun. It's not upbeat at all. However, I need my fix. So for those of you that are out there like this, I want to tell you what I do to get my fix, but also move along in my life, okay? So that I'm not part of that negativity all the time, right? I choose, I'm not going to tell you what they are, you can probably guess, but I choose 2 different news programs, okay? 2 different channels, and there are 2, there's one is a team of people, and the other one is one guy. And I like these people, okay? I always feel like I get reasonableness. There's a word, I get reasonableness from them, right? So what I do is I turn them on for the first 5 to 10 minutes of their show, okay? And then I turn them off, and I turn on a movie that makes me laugh, or I turn on, I don't know, another show. The other night, my husband walked in the door. He was laughing so hard. He was like, why are you watching this? I turned on that lip syncing battle, right? It was Michael Jackson night, right? He comes home and and I've got the lip sync battle. Of course, LL Cool J's on, who really can do no wrong. LL Cool J is a god to me, right? I just love this man, right? And he's just easy on the eyes, and that smile. Okay, enough of that. But he's like hosting this lip sync battle thing, and I could care less about the people on the show, but I was loving watching that because it was like musical, and it was Michael Jackson. I'm sorry, but because I like to dance and stuff, so that was so much fun. He was like, "What are you doing?" Of course, and I'm like laughing because I'm like dancing around, cooking and stuff. But it was so much fun. So you know what? That's how to keep the negativity away, right? Watch what you need to watch. Get the headlines. It's fine. You don't have to stay away. I know people that actually stay away from the news, and that's fine too. If you feel like you need to stay away, that's fine. But you know what? I'm a junkie. I need to know I need to get my stuff, right? So I thought that was really interesting. An interesting sort of take on it. Okay, so that's just little words of wisdom, so to speak. So, all right. So, all right. Now, I wanted to talk today about the topic of the day. Topic of the day is clairvoyance. What the heck is clairvoyance anyway? Seriously. Yeah, when I give readings, I like to open up the sort of floor, I guess you could say, so that people can ask me questions about how I do what I do. And I'm like perfectly fine with people asking me, how is it that you do what you do? Why do you do what you do? So I thought, I get the clairvoyance question quite often. So I thought, you know what, let's just dedicate a show. That'll be the topic. So, right. And clairvoyance is a term that is it doesn't just mean one thing. I think, people that aren't into spiritual work understand clairvoyance as seeing something kind of seeing something that isn't really there, kind of thing. So that would be clairvoyance, right? When you do spiritual work, it's a little bit different than that. For me, okay, I'll just leave it at that. As far as clairvoyance goes, people, you can actually see things. There are people that see apparitions, which are like full-on spirit souls that are here right next to them in the room. Okay, and they see that. Okay, so that's like one way. Over the years, it has been thought that clairvoyance is actually sort of an ESP, right? Extrasensory perception. Okay, so it's part of the ESP thing, not SPN, not ESPN, but ESP. I'm so weird. Anyway, okay, but to me, it's kind of different than that as well. Okay, clairvoyance, yes, it is partially seeing the apparitions, but it's also part seeing things in your mind's eye. Okay, another part, actually, the main reason why I did the meditation that I did earlier was because I wanted you guys to get a feel as to when you meditate and you close your eyes and you imagine yourself standing in that field with all those flowers around, and you are you can feel the breeze on your face, and you can see that there are no clouds in the sky, and you can see the trees, and you can see the ground, right? You can, like I said, you can feel the breeze, or you can feel the earth beneath your feet, right? Those are different clairs, okay? But clairvoyance is when you see it, okay? So when you're in your mind's eye, when you're doing that meditation and you see all that, in a sense, it's not clairvoyance, what you saw, because that was your imagination. But I wanted to have you guys go through that meditation so you could understand what it is that I, as a medium, see when I'm getting messages clairvoyantly, okay? A lot of times, tons and tons of times, well, actually, let me back up. I think that clairvoyance is really sort of popular, and it's the term that people that aren't into this work understand the easiest, because it's kind of a tangible thing. Okay, now granted, you can't sit and touch it. I get that. However, it's tangible in that it's real. Like the lady standing right next to me, that I don't see anybody standing next to me, but if a lady was standing next to me looking into the camera there, that would be an apparition. That would be clairvoyance. Okay? That would be tangible. Okay? However, clairvoyance is also in your mind's eye. Okay? So when I do readings and I close my eyes and I get myself ready to do these readings, and I start to meditate, a lot of stuff. Wow. Okay, I've got a lot of stuff going on. Somebody is supposed to be calling in. I don't know who it is, but if you feel that I am getting all sorts of stuff, and I think it's probably because I'm talking about clairvoyance too, but oh boy. Anyway, it's what's happening in your mind's eye. One example of that I want to tell you guys about is a picture that I saw, and this is like a great example of this. It actually was, and I've probably told this story before, and so I apologize for that if you've heard this before, but it's a really specific, perfect story. And it was grandma, my husband's grandmother. I was giving her a reading, and I all of a sudden saw this beautiful picture, like a picture, like somebody had a picture in their hand, right? And this picture was a picture of little girls, and I knew that these girls were, it was an old picture. You could tell by the way they were dressed, and I saw the entire thing in my mind. I had my eyes closed. I saw the entire thing in my mind, and I could describe. I think I described their hair, and I described their what they were wearing. I described where they were. It became real to me, as though it was right in front of me. So it wasn't like an apparition. It wasn't tangible as far as I can see it and hold it. However, it was tangible in that I could see it enough in my brain. Okay, so that is, when you do spiritual work, that is what clairvoyance is. Now, the funniest thing about that is, before I started really, really developing my gifts, I didn't know that. I just thought I saw stuff, and it was just like, oh, that's that. I didn't realize it was clairvoyance. Seriously. It was like so stupid. And then one day I was like, oh, that's clairvoyance. Oh my God, So, clairvoyance works like that as well. I also get, like, let's see, how can I explain this? I also get like, scenes in my brain as well. Like I will see, God, I'm trying to think of one that is relatively recent. Little boys. Actually, you know what I tend to see? What people, whenever I'm doing readings and people are in front of me, the soul, the spirit, will bring through where they lived, right? And a lot of times they'll bring through their house. So I'll be able to get a visual on what their house looked like. Not all the time. It's not foolproof. It's really what the spirit chooses to show me. That's the bottom line. Whatever they choose to show me is what it is. So, which is always interesting in itself. But yeah, I'll see the house, I'll see the porch, I'll see, and based on what type of house I see, who's, the kids playing in the yard, the little tricycles or whatever, based on what I'm seeing there, I'll then get like a time frame. Like if they're dressed in a certain outfit, I'll go, that's the 1960s. I can totally tell that's the 60s, or that's the 70s, or if they have shades and hair up, that's the 90s. If they have their, what was the name of that group with the spiked hair? Darn it, I can't think of that. Flock of Seagulls. So yeah, at any rate, where this stuff comes from, I don't know. But at any rate, so like, I can get what I need to get in order to validate that it's this specific person. Okay, so that's why we get clairvoyance. Okay, well, I hope that made sense. Because it's a really amazing clair to talk about. There are many other clairs too, by the way. There are many other clairs. Let's see. There is, so clairvoyance is just seeing. There's claircognizance, which is knowing, right? Claircognizance it's clear knowing, and that's a pretty serious one as well. And then there's clairaudience, which is hearing. And I have to tell you that, I don't know if you remember a few minutes ago, I was like, whoa, somebody's like, all this energy. I've got a lot of energy around me, and it might be for somebody for later or whatever, I don't know, but my ears started kind of making these sounds, right? And so that's clairaudience. Okay, so when you hear things, one time I was doing a group reading, and I had all these people in this room. All the doors and windows were shut. I guess it was cold outside. I don't exactly remember. But all the doors and windows were shut. And all of a sudden, I started hearing a bird. I was giving a reading, and I heard a bird chirping. And I thought, do they have a bird in here? I was like looking around for a cage. And I'm like, do they have a bird? No cage. No cage. It was my clairaudience. Right? Now, that one for me isn't as developed as I would like it to be. And, when you're doing mediumship stuff, there's always stuff to work on. Always. So anyway, that's always fun. Then there's clairgustance, which is tasting. So like you can taste a cookie, a chocolate chip cookie, right? Or you could taste a steak, or whatever it is that the spirit wants to show you, right? And then there's the clairsentience, which is the clairphysical feeling. Okay, so clairsentience is a lot of empaths are clairsentient. Clairsentient has to do with feeling. Me taking on. Remember, I was telling you before about how earlier on today I was taking on the feeling of somebody, and well, that was what that was about. That was clairsentience. So yeah, so I'll do a show about all of these if there's interest. If you guys want to tell me if you're interested in that I would love to. And then there's the clairalience, which is smell. I had a really close friend of mine that passed away years ago. And after she passed away, I have an office, and the doors were closed. It's a small office. It's not huge, but so I was sitting there and I was meditating, and one day I smelled, her name was Patty, I smelled her perfume. So yeah, that was kind of interesting. And it was like, oh my God, Patty, you're here. Oh my God, it was so cool. It was so cool and so wonderful to feel her. So yeah, she comes through occasionally, So yeah, so that's kind of fun. It's a beautiful thing what I get to do. I am so fortunate. Like, my friend Patty passed away, but yet I get to hear from her. My old boyfriend Kirk, he passed away in 96, and I get to hear from him. My father passed away in 2000, and I get to hear from him. So I mean, I am like so lucky, and I don't mean to sound like I'm bragging or anything, but I'm so fortunate. And you know what? And because I am fortunate to do what I do, that's why I like to do the show, so that I can give a little bit of it back to you guys, because it's difficult. It's difficult to lose somebody who you love. It's difficult, right? But if I can make you feel a little bit of peace there for just a few minutes, that's my goal. And so that's why I like to give readings. That's why I enjoy this. I do the show here, but yes, I do readings professionally. You can look on my website, laurialbert.com, and you can check out that. But that's not why I do the show. I do the show for you guys. So, at any rate, so that being said, I wanted to. Oh, I have a couple of questions that somebody emailed me last week, and I'm going to go into one of them. The one question that I get quite often actually is, are they around you all the time? Are spirits around you all the time? I will say that when I first started doing this, yes, they were around me all the time. All the time. And at first, it freaked me out. After that, it became like I was like, I need to get control of this. And then once I realized that I do have control and I can take control, spirits know. And I've talked about this before, but I use Archangel Michael to help with, sort of organize everything and get everything together for me. So I have Archangel Michael that helps me out. And so, yeah, I close myself off. We know that, I mean, I've made no bones about the fact that I like my wine and I like my tequila. So what happens is when I start to drink, they know as soon as any little bit of alcohol touches my lips, they know that it's off limits. Unless it's an extreme emergency. And they know when they can butt in, okay? And that's happened. And yeah, one time my girlfriend and I were at a bar. Oh my God. And we were just sitting there talking, and we were sitting at the bar, and the bartender had like an uncle or somebody who was just, you need to give him a reading now. And so there we were, just talking to this bartender. But, it was an extreme emergency. He needed to hear what he needed to hear when he needed to hear it. And it was urgent, right? So they know. So anyway, so that's that. But yeah, I know a lot of people where they allow themselves to be open all the time. And that's their choice, I guess, I mean, that's their choice. And what ends up happening is that for me, for a while, for a period in there, I allowed myself to be open a lot, a ton more. And what ended up happening was that I became completely exhausted. My brain would just be completely exhausted all the time. And, now I feel like we've hit sort of the, forgive the pun, happy medium here. But, yeah, I feel like we've kind of hit a happy medium place with it all. So that's just kind of the way it works now. So So that's good. Okay, so before I sign off, unless anybody has a last quick call, I know I've gotten a couple messages already, and I will, to the best of my ability, go through the Facebook page and answer questions and stuff on there. And just so you know, I will answer your emails if you have a private question that you want to ask me. I'll do that too. So there you go. Okay, so I want to give you guys the quote of the day, and I thought this was really really apropos for today. And yes, we're going to bring out the glasses. So this is a quote by Khalil Gibran. Oh my God, Gibran. And this is the quote: "When you are joyous, look deep into your heart, and you shall find it is only that which has given you sorrow that is giving you joy. When you are sorrowful, look again in your heart, and you shall see that in truth you are weeping for that which has been your delight." And basically what he means there is you can't have joy without sorrow. You can't have sorrow without joy. If we were always all in the middle, we wouldn't know either. So at any rate, I am so blessed to have been with you tonight, and I look forward to hearing from you. I look forward to your emails and your texts and all of that stuff. And I really appreciate each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for being part of the show. And have yourself a great night, and everybody stay happy. Take care.
Thank you for watching Spiritually Speaking with Lauri Albert.